Hello my beautiful friends, thank you so much for joining me today. This is Angie from Simply Angel Tia, and if you're new to my channel, I would like to officially welcome you as well. For today's tutorial, I'm going to be showing you guys how to make this pocket shawl. As you can see here, this is the one I have already almost completed, and I'll explain why I say almost. I have one more step to take, but this is pretty much how it looks like. This is a variation of V-stitch. And the reason I'm saying it variation is if you can see on this side it has these lines, okay, but if you were to flip it on this other side it's just flat. That's why I said there's a variation of a V-stitch here. So as you can see, I've already done my pockets, I've already done my tassels down here, so it's a little bit messy. So what I'm going to be doing that is a little bit different is I'm going to do pockets on this side as well, because I would like this shawl to be kind of what you would call reversible, where you could wear it on this side or you could wear it on this side as well as the outside of the shawl. And so what I have here is I've already done one pocket for this side, and instead of having this as the top as I did on this side here, so as you can see, I wanted to make sure these lines match with the shawl, as you can see. So I decided to use the same design here, or the same stitch to do that, and I sewed it on this side. And what I'll do on this side, because it's the flatter side, even though I have it like this, it's going to be sewn in like this, so it will kind of match the flatness of this side. So I already have one pocket done, and I'm going to be showing you guys how to do the second pocket. And also with this shawl, I worked on the long side. So I actually started like this and I worked along it like this, as opposed to some shawls that you can work on the short side like this. Okay, so this is pretty much the done one. This is a very big shawl, and it's actually going to be for me. So, and I'm a little bit on a petite side, so it's gonna be covering me really well. And as you can see here, it's beautiful. I'll tell you exactly what colors these are as well that I used. Okay, so I'm just gonna put this guy on the side here so I can bring in the rest of the things that we're gonna be needing for this. Okay, so like I said, I already started the first pocket for the reverse side, and this is it here. And I'm going to be showing you how to do the whole thing like this. This is a sample. I'm going to be showing you the second pocket as a sample, because all I did was just repeat this design until I had my full shawl, and then I matched the same design of with the pockets. Okay, so for this today we're going to be needing this. So this is the same yarn. It's like a dark blue that I used for this. It's actually a completely different brand as this, but I ran out of this yarn and I decided to do this blue, and I think it actually complements the other colors really well. It's a little bit on the darker side. The same thing with the tassels. I used that same color. I actually came to prefer doing it like this as opposed to using these same colors for the pocket as well as the tassels. Okay, so this is what we're going to be using. If you're curious to know what this yarn is, I have another one in a different color here. It's Impeccable. It's 100% acrylic, and it's 277 yards long. Let me see, what other information do we have here. Recommended hook size is a 6mm crochet hook, and it's a size medium. Okay, so this is what I used, except it's in this blue color. Exact same brand, but in a different color. Okay, for this shawl here, the big guy, the main part of the shawl, I used Yarnspirations by Carron Big Cakes. Okay, what other information do you need here? So it's 100% acrylic. It's a medium, size 4, and the recommended hook is a 5. Okay, in terms of color, it's called a blueberry pudding. And that's what it is. Okay, so these are all these colors. Everything came exactly like this. I did not change and add different colors to it. It actually came with these colors already done like this. And then of course you're going to need your crochet hook. I'm going to be using a 5mm crochet hook, even though I know this one is recommending a 6, but I'm going to be using a 5 because that is the 5 that I used for the main shawl. Okay, and you're going to need your scissors. This is to cut your yarn whenever you need to cut your yarn. As well, you're going to need your darning needle, and this is mostly to sew in the pockets. So for me, I usually just use this for sewing in something. For kind of weaving in my ends, I just usually do a knot and then I cut it off. Okay, so this is mostly for weaving in the ends. So let's get started. So because I'm just showing you guys a sample, it's going to be just me showing you guys how to do the pocket, but the whole thing is done with the exact same design, the same stitch. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and get this started here. So if you're new to my channel, you'll notice that I put the yarn in my finger like that. It's just my way of holding in the yarn. Okay, you can hold it however you find comfortable for you. Okay, so we're going to start off by doing a slip knot. It's just like that. That's a slip knot here. Sorry if the camera is a little bit shaky. Don't know why. I think I'm just moving too much. But anyways, after you have your slip knot like that, for this shawl here, I believe I did 230. I cannot remember exactly, but you're going to do it as long as you want it. Mine was absolutely over 100 chains, over 200 chains. I believe it was 230. And the best way to make sure you have the number of chains you want is you just do a multiples of 3, and you do that until you get the size that you're looking for, the length of your shawl that you're looking for. So for this particular sample, I'm going to be doing 39, which is multiples of 3. Okay, so this is what the size of the 39 chains, it will give you this size. Okay, so like I said, my big guy there was over 200. I believe it was 230 something. Okay, so we're going to start with our chain. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is a chain 39 right here. Okay, when you have your number of chains, and this is the same. So if you're starting off with your shawl and you're using this stitch, you'll have so many chains by now. But because I'm just showing you a sample, which is just the pocket part, then I did 39. And when you're at that end, you're going to skip 3 chains. So 1, 2, 3, and on this 4th one, you're going to do a double crochet. Oops, double crochet, chain 1, and then a double crochet in the same space. There you go, just like that. Okay, and then you're going to skip 2 spaces or 2 chains, so 1, 2, and on this 3rd one here, you're going to do another double crochet, chain 1, and a 2nd double crochet in the same spot. So what I'm doing here is I'm actually creating my V stitches. So this is my first V stitch, this is my 2nd V stitch here. Okay, and that is how you do a V stitch. Okay, so you're going to continue to do that all the way to this end. So 1, 2, on the 3rd one you do a V stitch. Okay, and to do a V stitch you do a double crochet, chain 1, another double crochet in the same space. So go ahead and work along your chain. If you're making the full shawl, it will be a while before you get to the end. Pause the video, and when you have your last 3 chains left, come back to the video and I'll show you how to finish it off here and turn our work around. So go ahead and do that, and I'll see you guys in a bit. Okay guys, so this is how the first row of your V-stitch should look like. Okay, and I'm almost at the end here. I have 3 more stitches to go. And what I will do is I will just do a double crochet in this final one here. Okay, just like that. And then I'm going to chain 2, turn my work around like that. And this is where we start with our variation of a V-stitch, okay? So we're going to do a double crochet, but we're going to go behind the first double crochet here. Okay, just like that. And just as usual, if you're doing a V-stitch, you do a chain 1, and then you do another double crochet, but you go behind the second double crochet from the previous row, just like that. Okay, so this is how it's going to look on this side. I'm going to do one more. You're going to do a double crochet behind the first double crochet from the previous row, chain 1, and then another double crochet going behind the second double crochet. Okay, so like that. We'll do one more. So go and do a double crochet behind the first double crochet from the previous row, chain 1, and then go ahead and do your second double crochet. So we're still creating the V-stitch on this side, except we're just going into the back, like we're just going behind these double crochet from the previous row to do our first double crochet. You chain 1 and then you go and finish the second one. So that's your V. And if you can see, so now when I turn my work over, that's when we're creating that line. I'll show you. So we're creating this line. So this is going to be this side, and this side is going to be this side. Okay, so as you can see here, that is pretty much what we're doing. And this is pretty much a continuation of it. So that's pretty much how I did this whole shawl. On this one side, you do it like that until you get to the end. And when you get to the end here, we have the chain 3 that we skipped earlier. And you're just going to do a double crochet here and then chain 2 and turn your work around. So go ahead and do that. And when you get to the very last double crochet here, when you do your last chain, when you do your last V stitch, you will have this space left here. Come back and I'll show you guys how to work on that and then turn your work around. See you guys in a bit. Okay guys, so I am at the end of the second row here, as you can see. Okay, so like I said, this last space here is the first 3 chains that we skipped to start our first row, and I'm just going to do a double crochet in that space right there like this. Okay, so this was my last V stitch here. These 2 double crochets here was my last V stitch, and then I did a double crochet here. And then you're going to chain 2, turn your work around. Okay, and then on this side, you're going to just go back to doing the regular V stitch. Okay, so you do your first double crochet and you're skipping the first. So let me go back here. So this is where your chain is. You're not working on this in this first space here. You're going right to the second space here and do your double crochet, chain 1, and another double crochet to make your V stitch. Okay, so just like that. So you'll always have this chain 2 at the beginning. That doesn't count as your V stitch. Your V stitch starts in the second space. And then you're going to skip the next one, and in the second you're going to do your V stitch as well. So first double crochet, chain 1, and then the second double crochet. Okay, so that is your second V stitch here. Okay, and you're going to pretty much continue to do this. So you skip one space, do a V stitch, skip the second the next space, do a V stitch here. Okay, and so on and so forth. So this is what you're going to be doing all the way to the end. And when you get here, your last V stitch is going to be going in the second last space right here, and then here you just do your regular double crochet, chain 2, turn your work around, and when you go to this side, you're going to be doing the V stitch by going around your double crochets like this, so like we did in the previous row. Okay, So you're going to continue to do this as long as it takes you to build up your shawl. So let me just undo this here. So for my work here, for the shawl that I have already completed here, this is how long or how big it is for me. So you can see from here, from this purple color to this purple color here. I don't know exactly how long these. I should have a tape somewhere, but it's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. 1, 2. So 22 of these times 2. So it's about 44 rows. So this is 44 rows of this that that I did. You could be doing it less depending on how big or wide you want your shawl to be. But mine was a total of 44. And I used exactly 2 of these the yarn. I used 2 packages of it. Okay, so if you're looking to get the exact same that I have here, then you will need exactly 2 of this to do it. And then for me, I got a different yarn to do the pockets and the tassels. If you're looking to do the exact same, use the exact same yarn for the pocket, then you will need your third package for that. Okay, so as you can see, this side is just a regular V-stitch, and this side is the V-stitch that I create by going through the back loop. It's still the V-stitch, as you can see, but I just go through the back of the double crochet from the previous row. Okay, so go ahead and build up your work as long as you want it, as wide as you want it, and then come back and I will show you guys how to finish off the pockets that I'm currently doing here and how to sew it onto your how to sew it onto your I cannot talk today. How to sew it onto your shawl. Okay, so I'll see you guys in a bit. Okay, so welcome back, guys. So what I will actually do is, instead of finishing the second pocket and showing you guys how to sew both in, just for saving time, I'm actually just gonna show you guys how to sew in the first one that I've already completed, and then you can go ahead and complete the second pocket and sew it in as well. So as you can see, this is the one that I had completed. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew it on this side, and I'm going to be sewing it in like this here. That way it matches my the V-stitch on this side, as opposed to on this other side here, I did it along the grid like this. So it goes, these lines go up like this, just like the shawl is. Okay, so I'm doing the exact opposite on this side as well, which is to sew it in like this, and it matches with my with this side. Okay, so I already have my darning needle here, and I've already put in a long strand of the yarn that I'm going to be using to sew it in. And on this side here, I went, and it's just a way to measure it, I went from the purple to the purple, or you could also just count it in. Okay, so both sides have to be equal, but mine is going to be going from this purple line here to that purple line, and it's just how mine ended up fitting. Yours could go in any other different way, but for me, to make sure that both sides are equal, it was to go from this purple line here to this purple line here. So I'm going to make sure that it matches this side as well. Okay, so I'll go ahead and place my pocket right here like this. Okay, so go a little bit closer to the edge here. So this is how it looks. Goes almost at the end there, and that's how I have it on this side as well. It's almost at the end, as you can see here. Okay, and then I'm going to take my darning needle that already has a yarn on it, and all I'm going to be doing, and I'm going to be going on this line here, and all I'm going to be doing is at this very top end here, I'm going to pretty much start by putting my darning needle in this space here, and then just kind of getting enough of the yarn from the other side and then pulling it in. And the reason I made this yarn here very long is because I want to be able to go around all the way like this to sew in my pocket. Okay, so as you can see here, what I do when I do this kind of stuff is when I have the yarn like this, I'm gonna do a knot. Okay, so I'm going to use this side here, the short as I can go, and do a knot there like that. And then I'm going to take these two, the little piece that I have left and the long part of the yarn, and I'm going to just use it to kind of sew it in so that it's not just hanging there. I'm going to use it to sew it in like this. So it's gonna be kind of looped in without me having to cut it at the end or do it separately. Okay, so just like that. And what I do is I just go as close as I can. I hope you can see it well on the camera there, but I just go like this, like that's all, and I just pull it tight. And I go from the blue part, so the pocket part, and then I take enough of the yarn from the shawl itself to be able to sew the pocket in, just like that. Okay, and then so it's easier to hold it like this usually. So I just go like this, and right now I'm doing it very close to each other because I want the strand from the knot to be covered fully inside, like that. And then I can be a little bit, I can go a little bit wider after that. So I just want to make sure this part is covered, so I'm gonna tuck it in like that. And now that that's covered, I don't have to do this as close to each other. I could do it a little bit further apart, and it makes it go faster. So I can go here, like that. Okay, it's easier for me to hold it from the bottom like this as well, because I can feel it and feel where the yarn or the other pocket is, so I can line it up properly. Okay, so this is pretty much it. So you pretty much sew your pockets in. I'm sorry if the camera is shaky, guys, because I'm moving. My camera is camera mount is very close to me because I wanted this to be really close to the work so you can see it. So if it is too shaky, I apologize for that, but hopefully it's not too bad. But that's it. So you just go ahead and sew this, and when you come to this end here, you'll sew this down here. So we're going to just kind of pull it a little bit. It's a little bit stretchy, as you can see here, so you can kind of pull it to make sure it comes to the side, to the space that you want it to touch here. Okay, so you're going to sew it all the way here. When you get to this corner, you're going to bring this guy along with you by sewing it down so it kind of get tucked in like this. And then when you get to this corner, you will make sure you attach this corner really well, and you're going to sew this all the way to the end here. But because this is all the way at the end, as soon as you come close enough to it, bend it backwards like this. Okay, bend it like this, and then be able to sew this while this one is facing you. So this is gonna be covered here as well. So I'm gonna let you guys go ahead and sew in your pockets, and then come back and I'll show you guys how it looks like when it's completed. I'll see you guys in a bit. Okay, my friends, so this is it here. So I've already sewn in my pocket, as you can see. Okay, this is how it looks in the bottom here. This is how it looks on top, and I still have my yarn attached here because I wanted to show you guys how I do to finish it off. So now that I have sewn in all the way to the top here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to weave these in, going back towards the work of the blue, because this is this blue. I want to kind of make sure it's weaved in to the same color, that way it's not very visible to see. And when you're like somewhere like this, I just go over to the other side, because that's the inside of the pocket, and I pull it in like that. Okay, when I have it like that, I will take my yarn, I'll cut it, let's say somewhere here. Okay, we'll put the needle away, and then I'm going to tie this here just to make sure it doesn't come apart. I'm going to do 2 knots, so like that, as you can see, just do a knot like that. And then I'm going to do it again like that. Okay, now that I know that is secure there, I'm going to cut the excess yarn off like that. Okay, that's it. So that's my pocket here. So this is the end of this project, you guys. So obviously I'm showing you just how to do a small sample of this. If you're doing the full shawl like I did here, this took me about 6 days, and I do about 2 to 3 hours per night, sometimes maybe less, but an average of about 2.5 hours per night for the 6 days that I finished I used to complete this. Okay, so as you can see, like I said, I wanted this side to match the way the shawl looks on this side, and then if you go to the opposite side, I sewed these in so that it matches how the shawl looks on this side. Okay, so this is my reversible shawl. Okay, which means if I wear it on this side as the outside, I have a pocket, and if I wear it on this side as the outside, I have pockets still. Okay, so this is the end of this project, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this project, please subscribe so you can get more of my projects in the future that I'm going to be posting. As well, comment and like, and maybe even share this video with your friends or someone who would like to make something similar to this or learn how to do something similar to this. Thank you so much again, you guys. I appreciate your support as usual, and I hope to see you guys in my next video. All right, have a good one. Ciao, ciao.